Hello, everybody, and good morning. My name is Ricardo Cabrera. I am the operations manager at the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Boulder County. And today we have as our guest, Frank Davila. He's the chairperson of CALMA. Frank, welcome. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Ricardo. Thank you for this opportunity. We're very pleased to speak to you and your audience about CALMA.
Excellent. Well, before we start with that, let me ask you a question. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Okay. Ricardo, I'm a retired school teacher, principal, administrator. I did some work at the central office and also at the state level. And I've been doing a lot of work as far as consultant work in education. One of my passions happens to be writing. And so we began that process of trying to do some work and support the writing process, but also I do consultant work with aspiring leaders of color for administration to provide leadership opportunities for those in public school, because we have a lot of need for more representation and more cultural linguistic voices that we represent. So I'm very much into that.
Wow, excellent experience. I'd love to hear people's experience because you never know what you get. So thank you for that. So let's go into CALMA. What does CALMA stand for, and then what's the origin of CALMA?
CALMA stands for Colorado Alliance of Latino Mentors and Authors. And the origin of CALMA, we began last year in April. And the purpose of CALMA was to kind of celebrate, promote, and preserve the written word of Latino authors in Colorado. When we first met, Ricardo, we, I think, identified maybe a dozen Latino writers in Colorado, and now we realize there are over 60, and probably even more. And a lot of these folks perhaps haven't come together as a group. And so our purpose is, how do we bring this group together and share with each other our successes, our processes, and how to celebrate them, and how to do something with it, because we want to provide some hands-on strategies, not just us, but the writers themselves. For example, through roundtables, through other kinds of counseling, advice, or mentoring. Because when we put together venues, these guys are the experts, and they can share their background and their writing from different genres, for this poetry or fiction, nonfiction, mystery, lo que sea, children poetry, whatever. We welcome all that.
Well, so the Colorado Alliance of Latino Mentors and Authors. So tell me about mentorship. What's your role, and what do you do to be a mentor to an aspiring writer?
Okay, well, a little bit of background on myself as mentoring. I did my dissertation way back on mentoring. And so I feel very comfortable with that. And I believe highly in the mentoring, because I think a lot of us get to where we are in different places within our jobs or positions, whatever, through the help of someone else, whether it's official or unofficial or kind of a mentoring. Our work with CALMA is that we invited the authors and asked them, which one of you would be willing to be mentored? We received about 15 responses. And so our role now is, we have a flyer that we're going to put out, and the flyer is going to be inviting the public through CALMA Facebook, and also through our website, and through you as well, for young adult Latino writers in Colorado. We're going to ask them, do you want to write? Do you need a mentor? And so, sign up and complete the application on the website, and then we'll take it from there. So that is the process. But again, mentoring is something that we believe in highly. I know when I wrote, I had a mentor, and then I've mentored other writers already. And so it helps both of us, the mentor and the protege or the mentee.
Cool. So if I want to write a book, or if I wrote a book, or I have no idea, so give me 3 bullet points of something that I would have to do as a process. Because I mean, I'm sure the first thing that comes to my mind is like, I'll write a book, 25 paragraphs, 3 chapters, and I'm done. But I'm sure there's more to it than that.
Probably the first thing is that you have to be committed. That is, you have to write every day, even if it's a sentence or a paragraph, just like playing an instrument. If you want to be proficient, you got to play the guitar every day and learn the chords. Number 2, you have to have an end in mind. What is it that I want the book to look like when I finish? And then along with that is what's my timeline? Do I want to do it by the end of the summer, by December, by midsummer next year? Because if you don't put a deadline, then it'll just go on forever. And then number three is if I need help, where do I go? And what kind of help do I need? And let me reach out to other people, because we sometimes stay within our own little world and in isolation, not knowing that there are other people out there with expertise that are willing to help us. So those three would be some things that I would consider.
So in that case, you just call CALMA and you're in a good place, right?
Yes, because in CALMA, we have the website, and then there's a link that says mentoring. They pop into that, and there's an application form. They complete the application form, submit that, and then we'll respond and try to match you up with the right mentor.
Excellent. So just so everybody knows, I'm going to put all this information in our description down here for CALMA, and then you'll be able to have an email link and maybe a phone number and a website so people can reach you, Frank, in CALMA if they need help. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So then tell me, how would I support current CALMA members, or how do you support current CALMA members for writing?
Yes. Well, number one, we have on our website the Latino Author of the Month. So we have their photo, we have their bio, and all their works. And so we celebrate them. And then every month we include a new author. This month we have Manuel Ramos, and he's a prolific writer. He's written so many books on mystery. His a protagonist, or the main character, is a Latino guy from Denver who's sort of like a detective that kind of resolves problems. Very interesting. Anyway, and so then in addition to that, we also put together roundtables where we invite other Latino authors in Colorado to be on a panel, and they will talk about what it takes to be a writer, some of the do's and don'ts, or some of these editing features, or how to publish, and so forth. And then we also provide a resource link with tips and some topics about authors. And then we also, through social media, we want to have meetings with different authors. And eventually, once we meet in person, we will have more of discussions and sharing of authors and information, and also inviting the public because sharing, for example, with Tattered Cover and other people, we've made connections with them. And now Tattered Cover, for example, wants a list of all the Latino authors, because I don't think they knew that many existed. And they want to partner with us. So that'll be another big opportunity for Latino authors to take their work directly to Tattered Cover and get that, if not at least displayed in there somehow. So we try to find ways. And then the first other way is we ask the Latino authors, what do they need? What is something that is missing in their repertoire or in their essential needs as a published writer? So a lot of the ways that we want to invite them to help us.
Well, it sounds like a very well-rounded program and set of features and programs you have for aspiring writers. Do you guys take the written word in English and Spanish? Do you?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have a couple of writers, Ricardo Borgares, Dr. Borgares. He writes poetry in English and Spanish, and so he is very willing to help us out. And we have other writers that are also have published in Spanish, and so. But yes, we'll do both.
Excellent. Then how about other languages like Portuguese or some other Latino languages?
We have not at the moment, but if one comes up, I'm sure we probably would be open to that. Yes.
Excellent. I love the way you think, Frank.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Cool. So I think we already talked about how mentoring is facilitated, but if there's anything else that I've missed, tell me more.
About the mentoring, I think mentoring, it's a two-way process. It involves a mentor and the protege, or the mentor and mentee, and they both have to contribute. In other words, they both have to commit. We ask once they apply, the protege or the mentee, once they apply, then we ask them to fill out like a mentoring application plan. In other words, that's where they tell us what is their goal, what is the genre of their work. They submit a 5 to 10 page sample of their writing, And so we asked them to share who they are, what their goals and what their aspirations and some of their strengths, some of their needs, their challenges. So that way the mentor has more of an idea of how to really capture the needs of that particular person that's trying to write, because every individual has different skill sets. So we try to identify what the skill sets are at the outset. And also we try to match, for example, if someone is writing poetry, we'll try to find a mentor who writes poetry, or somebody who writes mystery, put them with a writer who's a mystery writer. In my case, I did a memoir. So we'll do someone who wants to write a memoir. I will help them with that. So those are the kinds of support systems we can develop.
Wow, that sounds great. And it sounds great for anybody that wants to learn, write, or if they finish a process of a personal book. But, my grandmother, this reminds me, my grandmother used to say, and my grandfather, they were both educators. And, somebody said once, in a lifetime, everybody should plant a tree, have a kid, and write a book. And this fits perfect for that. I think writing a book for anybody is a great thing.
Yes, it is, because if we don't write it down, it doesn't appear. We can think it and we can share with somebody, but if it's not written down, then it doesn't pass on to the next generation. And that's another voice. We got to keep the younger generation interested and encouraged, and maybe this way we can model for them so that they can continue to write down the road.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Well, Frank, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing CALMA with us. Like I said, I'm going to share all your information down here in the description. Okay. So if anybody's interested, please contact Frank. It sounds like a great organization. Before we go, Frank, I have a surprise question for you.
Okay.
All right. So what is your favorite word?
Favorite word? I would think resiliency.
Excellent. Perfect. Perfect for everything that we talked about today. So thank you, Frank, for your time. And until next time.
Gracias. Thank you.